P.C. Anderson and I had covered about 3/4 of the area when we found the child.
Where was this?
On the waste ground, close to the hut.
This is the hut in which the defendant was living at the time?
I believe so, yes.
In what condition was the child when you found him?
He was unconscious and his head was bleeding from a wound on the scalp.
The case you're about to see is fictional, but the procedure is authentic. The characters are played by actors, and the jury is selected from members of the public. John Harper, an army deserter on the run, has been charged with wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm to Mark Cassidy, a 3-year-old child. He's pleading not guilty. He is further charged with escaping lawful custody after his arrest, to which he has pleaded guilty.
After you found the child, what did you do?
I radioed in to report that we'd found a child answering to the description of Mark Cassidy, and I asked for an ambulance to be sent. And then I heard P.C. Anderson shout something, and I turned round and saw him running off in pursuit of a man.
Who was this man?
The defendant, Mr. Harper.
And where was the defendant at this time?
He was on the other side of the waste ground, some distance away.
And then?
Well, I saw that P.C. Anderson had apprehended the man and was bringing him back over to where I was.
Did you then find something else?
I looked down and saw this half brick on the ground near where the child was lying. I turned it over and saw it had fresh blood on it.
In the meantime, where was the defendant?
Well, at that point, P.C. Anderson was about to put him in the back of the car.
Having arrested him for the assault?
Yes.
What happened next?
Well, next thing, the defendant suddenly pushed past P.C. Anderson and made a break for it back across the waste ground. So I pursued him and caught him and brought him back to the car.
Did he put up any resistance?
Oh, yeah, he struggled quite a bit.
Did you notice something else about the defendant's condition at the time?
Well, he smelled of alcohol. He wasn't incapable or anything, but he'd obviously had a few drinks.
Constable Naylor, thank you.
Constable Naylor. You said in your evidence that your colleague, Constable Anderson, pursued and arrested the defendant while you were radioing in to the police station. Is that right?
Well, I just finished radioing in, yes.
No. Is that quite normal? Is that the usual procedure?
I'm sorry?
Is it normal for an officer to calmly wait whilst his colleague, who was a moment before standing beside him, is running after a suspect who could well be violent?
Well, wasn't quite
like that. Perhaps, Constable Naylor, you could explain to the court why you did not go to the aid of your colleague.
As I said, it wasn't necessary.
In other words, Mr. Harper offered no resistance.
No.
How far away from you was the defendant when P.C. Anderson went after him?
Not very far.
Roughly? Was he as near to you as I am?
No, he was further away than that.
It would be appreciated, Constable, if you would give the court some estimate of the distance.
Well, I suppose must have been about 100 yards.
100 yards. And Police Constable Anderson sprinted this distance in a matter of seconds, did he?
Sorry.
Well, he must have, by your account. 1 minute you heard him shout at a man. The next he caught up with the man, spoken to him, arrested him, and then they're walking back towards you. What time did all this take place?
The child was found at 4:10 p.m. and the defendant arrested at 4:15.
Yes. Now, to return to the events of that day. After your colleague's fine display of running, you looked round and saw him returning with the defendant, yes?
Yes.
Harper already having been arrested?
Yes.
Again, Constable Naylor, I would like to ask you whether or not this is normal police procedure. Is it not more the rule to have 2 officers present at an arrest?
Technically, yes, but in practice it doesn't always work out that way.
I see, yes. Why did Constable Anderson break with the rules on this particular afternoon?
Well, there was only the 2 of us on the spot. Our other colleagues were some distance off. And then again, someone had to stay with the little boy.
Someone had to stay with the little boy? I don't believe you mentioned this point before.
Well, didn't feel it was necessary. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it?
You didn't think it was necessary to mention this point before?
No.
And just as you didn't think it necessary to go to the aid of your colleague in the pursuit of a suspect. And just as you didn't deem it necessary to witness the actual arrest. Well, when P.C. Anderson brought the defendant to where you were, what was said?
Well, PC Anderson just told me that he'd arrested the man, and then he told the defendant to get in the back of the car.
Really? Didn't PC Anderson say to you something like, "Here's the bastard that done it, Charlie"? Your name is Charlie, is it not?
Yes, it is. No, he did not.
No? And you didn't answer him by saying, "He'll soon bloody know what it feels like himself, won't he?"
No, I deny that.
Did the defendant, Mr. Harper, seem to you to be quite in control? Did he seem quite able to understand all that was going on?
I'd say so, yes.
He was not then in a state of drunkenness?
Well, I can't say.
He was not incapable in any way?
No, he didn't seem to be.
I see. Now, Constable Naylor, you subsequently, upon the ground, found a half brick with blood on it, did you not?
Yes.
Yes. What happened to that brick?
It was sent for analysis.
What kind of analysis?
Blood, fibre, that kind of thing.
Yes. Fingerprints?
Yes, yes, all that kind of thing, yes.
Yes. Were any fingerprints of Mr. Harper's found?
I believe not.
Now, why do you suppose that is?
Well, Mr. Pettifer, you can hardly ask the witness to make a surmise like that. Or was that a rhetorical question?
More the latter, my lord.
I must remind you this court is hardly the place for such musing. Go on, Mr. Pettifer.
One final point, Constable. Can you tell us what immediately preceded the defendant's attempt to escape after his arrest?
Nothing much. We were just putting him in the back of the car when he suddenly broke free and ran.
But had not your colleague, Constable Anderson, said to the defendant as he was putting him into the car, "Just you wait till we get you down to the station, chum. You'll be sorry you were born."
No. Just told him to get in the back of the car, as I remember.
Yes, well, no further questions.
Do you wish to re-examine Mrs. Haynes?
Thank you, my lord. Constable Naylor, it has been suggested that you neglected your duty in failing to witness Harper's arrest and in not going to help your colleague apprehend him.
Yes, I know.
Would it be fair to say that although police work contains some very definite rules, a great deal of what you do boils down to using your common sense?
I'd say so, yes.
Yes. A number of allegations have also been made concerning what was said by you and your colleague after the defendant's arrest. Is there any truth at all in these allegations?
None whatsoever.
Thank you, Constable.
I saw a man heading off in the opposite direction. I shouted at him to stop, and as he did not, I gave chase and apprehended him.
This was the defendant, John Harper?
It was. I caught up with him and said to him, "I believe you may be able to help us." The defendant replied, "What do you want to know then?" I informed him of the charge of assault, to which the defendant replied, "I never meant to harm him." I then cautioned him and made the arrest.
I never meant to harm him. What did you understand the defendant to mean by this?
I assumed he meant the little boy, Mark Cassidy.
Was there anything in particular you noticed about the defendant's condition?
Well, I noticed he'd been drinking.
What did Harper say after his arrest?
Nothing much. He was very quiet. That is, until I was putting him in the car. And then he suddenly said, "You get out of my way, bastard," pushed me aside and made a break for it. PC Naylor pursued him and brought him back.
I believe, Constable Anderson, that you subsequently took the defendant's statement in the police station after he'd been questioned.
That's right, Mum, I did.
Is this it?
It is.
Perhaps I might just read this to the jury, my lord.
Yes?
My name is John Cornelius Harper, of no fixed abode. Until 4 weeks ago, I was a soldier in the regular army serving in Northern Ireland. After my last term of leave, I went absent without leave and did not return to my regiment. I have been living during this time in a builder's hut on the waste ground between Ellesmere Road and Crofton Way, as I felt it was unsafe to remain with my family in their home. On the day of the 18th of April, I spent most of the day with a friend of mine, Peter Webster. We went out drinking in the early part of the afternoon. When the pub closed, I returned with Webster to his flat and subsequently made my way back to the hut. This would be at about 4 o'clock. When I reached the waste ground, I was apprehended and then arrested. I tried to escape after my arrest, but I was recaptured. I am familiar with Mark Cassidy, the victim of the assault, as his mother, Linda, is an ex-girlfriend of mine. She and the child Mark had visited me at the hut on 2 or possibly 3 occasions. I did not assault Mark and know nothing whatsoever how he came to be injured. That is Harper's statement.
It is.
Thank you, Constable Anderson. That is all.
Constable Anderson, you have told us that after you and your colleague found the injured child, you looked round and saw the defendant. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. How far from you was Mr. Harper when you noticed him?
Well, I'd say a few hundred yards.
A few hundred yards. And by a few, do you mean 700 yards, 300 yards? Could you be more specific?
Well, I'd say about 200.
200 yards. Far enough away, then, not to have heard you when you shouted to him.
I suppose so.
When you noticed Harper, what was his manner? What was he doing?
He seemed to be trying to make himself scarce.
And what gave you that impression?
Well, he was sort of hurrying. Not running, but walking very fast indeed. As if he were trying to get out of the way.
Yes. I think, Constable Anderson, you must know the defendant freely admits to being a deserter from the regular army. It's in his statement, is it not?
Yes.
Yes. Would not that fact alone be sufficient reason for him to have wanted to make himself scarce?
Maybe. All I know is I saw a man close to the scene where the child had been attacked, and he seemed to me to be acting suspiciously. So I went after him and apprehended him.
Yes. What time was this?
Shortly after 4 o'clock.
Now, when you shouted at Harper and ran towards him, what was his reaction? Did he run away?
No, he didn't.
Did he turn round and stand quietly and wait until you reached him?
Well, more or less.
More or less. Which? Did he or did he not wait calmly until you reached him?
Well, I wouldn't say that he was calm.
But he waited, did he not?
Yes.
Yes. He made no attempt at this time to run away.
He had no option.
That's your opinion, Constable. You see, you must have encountered situations where a person will run from you, whether or not it is the sensible thing to do at that time. Indeed, shortly after his arrest, Mr. Harper did exactly that, did he not?
Yes.
So, we have established, with some difficulty, that Harper offered no resistance when he saw a uniformed police officer running towards him, despite his having reason to want to avoid the police. Now, what happened when you reached him?
I told him I believed he might be able to assist us, and the defendant replied, "What do you want to know, then?" I then told him that someone had assaulted the child, Mark Cassidy, to which the defendant replied, "I never meant to harm him."
And you say that Harper then said something about never having meant to harm him, yes?
Yes.
I put it to you, you are mistaken. What John Harper actually said to you was, "What makes you think I've harmed him?"
No, that is not what I heard.
Well, is it not possible, Constable Anderson, you misheard what was said to you?
No, it isn't.
In which case, Constable, I put it to you that the phrase, "I never meant to harm him," is a fabrication. A convenient means to tie up the loose ends of an otherwise vague and inconclusive case. A convenient means of implicating someone who just happened to be near the scene of the attack when you got there.
That is not so. It is not a fabrication.
Well, then perhaps you simply heard what you wanted to hear. Now, you said that when you stopped Harper, you said to him something like, "There's a little kid over there who's been attacked by someone," did you not?
Yes.
No. "Some bastard's attacked a kid over there." Is that not closer to what you said?
No, I didn't put it like that.
No? Well, what were your exact words when you first apprehended Harper?
My exact words. I think I said, "I think you may be able to help us."
Not, "All right, pal, I think you're the one that can help us."
No.
You're quite certain of that?
I'm certain I didn't put it that way, yes.
Yes, very well. Well, when you arrested Harper and took him back to where your colleague, P.C. Naylor, was waiting, what did you say to your colleague?
I told him I'd arrested the man.
Not, "I think this might be the bloke."
No, but I might have said something like, "I've arrested this bloke." I'm not sure. It's hard to be exactly sure.
A moment ago you said that you were quite certain you had not said, I think this might be the bloke.
I don't remember saying that, but I suppose I might have.
Then, Constable Anderson, do you suppose you might also have said to Police Constable Naylor, here's the bastard that done it, Charlie?
No.
You've not forgotten saying that?
No, I meant I never said anything like that.
Yes, all right. Well, I'd put it to you that Constable Naylor's reply was, well, he'll soon bloody know what it feels like himself, won't he?
No, that's rubbish.
Is it really? Well, let's go back to the arrest itself, shall we? Because I must put it to you that after Mr. Harper said, what makes you think I've harmed him then, you answered his question by saying, because you're here.
No, no such thing happened.
What was your answer then?
Well, there wasn't one, because there wasn't a question to answer in the first place. What he said to me was, I never meant to harm him.
Yes, I see. Did you inform Harper you were placing him under arrest?
I told him I was arresting him and cautioned him.
By saying, you're nicked, chum.
Well, I may have said something like that too.
Yes, this is your manner of making an arrest, is it? By saying, you're nicked, chum.
No. I remember making a formal arrest, but it is just possible I might have said something of that sort to him as well.
Just possible. Now, after you tell the defendant that he was under arrest, then what did you do with him?
I took him over to the car, and I was about to put him into the back of it when he pushed past me, saying, you get out of my way, bastard. He then made a break for it, but P.C. Naylor gave chase and caught him again.
Yes. You didn't say to him, as you were putting him into the back of the car, just you wait till we get you down to the station, chum. You'll be sorry you were born.
No, of course I didn't.
What was Harper's attitude? Well, did he seem at all confused?
Well, not really.
No, he had no difficulty in understanding you or answering your questions.
No, he knew what was going on all right.
Yes, he didn't seem drunk then.
Well, he'd had a drink or two.
But he did not seem drunk. That is, if you'd encountered him under different circumstances, you would not have arrested him for being drunk in the street or drunk and disorderly.
No, I wouldn't have arrested the defendant for drunkenness because he wasn't committing a nuisance and he wasn't making a noise.
Very well. Now, what happened after you got Harper down to the police station?
After we got him down to the station, he was questioned, a statement taken from him. He was then fingerprinted and formally charged.
Yes. In how much of this were you personally involved?
All of it except the fingerprinting. Someone else did that.
Yes. You personally wrote out Harper's statement and charged him.
I did.
At what time, then, were you able to write up your notes on the affair? Was it before or after you took Harper's statement? Was it within 4 hours of the arrest?
Yes.
Yes. Because, as you know, Constable, notes made too long after the arrest are not allowed to be used as a memory refresher. So can you tell us, then, exactly when your notes were written?
As soon as I got back down the station.
Very well. Now, earlier you said that you yourself took Harper's statement.
I did.
And then you must be aware that Harper's statement contains no admission of guilt whatsoever. No phrase such as, I never meant to harm him, which you told the court earlier he had said to you. There is no admission of guilt in Harper's statement. Is that or is that not correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I have no further questions of the witness, my lord.
We won't keep you too long, Constable. I expect you're anxious to get away. Just a couple of points. Defense counsel has drawn attention to a discrepancy between what Harper is reported to have said on his arrest and what he subsequently said in his statement. In your experience, is such a discrepancy uncommon?
No, ma'am, far from it.
Why is this?
Lord, what frequently does or does not happen in the day-to-day administration of the law is hardly relevant, I feel. It has no bearing on this case.
Yes, I'm inclined to agree. Mrs. Haynes, please keep to the point.
As your lordship pleases. One final point. Is it quite clear in your mind what the defendant said when you told him there had been an attack on a child?
Perfectly.
His words were?
I never meant to harm him.
I think that's all. Has your lordship any further questions?
No.
May the witness be released?
Yes, certainly.
Thank you, Constable. That is all. I call Linda Georgina Cassidy.
Take the Bible in your right hand and read aloud the words printed on the card.
I swear by Almighty God, the evidence I give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Linda Georgina Cassidy.
I am, yes.
And you live at flat 20, Prospero House, Grange Road, Fulchester?
Yes.
And you are the mother of the victim, Mark Cassidy?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes, could you ask the witness to speak up? I doubt very much whether she can be heard by members of the jury.
Certainly, my lord. Could you manage to raise your voice just a little, Mrs. Cassidy? Thank you. Perhaps you would like to tell the court, in your own words, what happened on the day in question.
Well, I'd been out shopping, and on the way back I'd looked in on my mum.
Was Mark with you?
Yes, he was. Anyway, it was while we were at my mother's place that he went missing.
Well, could you describe more fully how this came about?
Well, he was outside playing, and my mum's got a small front garden, you see, and, well, we'd been inside for a while, and we noticed we couldn't hear him. So we looked out the window, and he wasn't there.
So what did you do then?
Well, we checked the house in case he'd slipped back in without us hearing. Then we asked the lady next door if she'd seen him, and she said no, she hadn't. So, anyway, by this time, we were really scared, and we called the police. And the next thing we heard was that they'd found Mark and taken him up to hospital.
Was Mark in the habit of wandering off by himself?
No, or he'd never been allowed out in the garden by himself. He isn't now, I can tell you.
How old was Mark at the time of the attack?
Just turned 3.
3. Mrs. Cassidy, are you acquainted with the defendant, John Harper?
I used to be.
How well did you know him?
I thought I knew him fairly well.
What was the nature of your relationship?
We used to go out together.
How long ago was that?
4 years ago, thereabouts.
When your relationship with Mr. Harper came to an end, was it amicably?
No, it certainly wasn't.
There was bad feeling between you, was there?
You could say that.
What was the reason for this bad feeling?
Well, for one thing, I married someone he knew. For another, I don't think he ever imagined I'd get fed up waiting for him and pack him in.
I see. Well, how did he react when you did finally pack him in?
He wouldn't accept it. Made a right nuisance of himself. Phoning me up all the time. Coming to where I worked and causing scenes. Threatening me. Telling me he'd kill my husband.
And how did you feel about that?
I was scared, wasn't I?
So, at the time your relationship ended, Mr. Harper had threatened you and your husband with violence.
Yes. But he didn't do anything. Oh, no, that's not his style. He'd rather pick on someone who can't hit back.
The case of the Crown versus Harper will be continued tomorrow in the Crown Court. The case you're about to see is fictional, but the procedure is authentic. The characters are played by actors, and the jury is selected from members of the public. John Harper, an army deserter on the run, has been charged with the wounding of a 3-year-old child, Mark Cassidy. He has pleaded not guilty. He is further charged with escaping lawful custody, to which he has pleaded guilty. Now giving her evidence is Linda Cassidy, the child's mother. Earlier in her testimony, Mrs. Cassidy said that she was an ex-girlfriend of Harper's and that they had parted on bad terms.
After your marriage, Mrs. Cassidy, did you have much to do with the defendant?
Tell you the truth, I never seemed to see him around after he finally gave up pestering me.
How did you meet up with him again?
Just bumped into him in the street.
When was this?
Not that long ago. The time he'd done a runner from the army.
You mean after he'd deserted?
Yes.
Was your meeting friendly?
Yes, it was, really.
What took place?
We got talking, went for a drink.
Did the defendant ask to see you again?
Yes.
Did you agree to see him again?
Yes. My husband was in Germany, you see. I used to get fed up being on my own all the time.
How often did you see Mr. Harper after the initial meeting?
I think 3 or 4 times.
Where did these meetings take place?
Once I met him in the pub, and after that I went up to see him in the hut.
Did you take Mark with you?
A couple of times, yes.
What is the nature of your relationship now?
We don't get on.
Why is this?
We fell out, and he said if I ever saw him again, he'd smash my face in.
Thank you, Mrs. Cassidy. I have no further questions.
Mrs. Cassidy, you've said that when you split up with Mr. Harper 4 years ago, you were somewhat afraid that he might become violent. Did you not?
Yes.
You were afraid of him at that time?
Yes.
Did Mr. Harper become violent toward you?
Well, as I said, he made a few threats.
Did he carry out any of these threats?
No, I suppose not.
In other words, it was all talk?
Yes, I suppose at the time it was.
Yes. Have you ever known Mr. Harper to be violent?
Well, I've heard about him getting into fights.
But you've never personally witnessed Mr. Harper being violent. You've heard rumors. Now, you've said that after you split up with Mr. Harper, you were afraid of him.
Yes.
Well, when you met him again earlier this year, had this attitude of yours changed?
I don't know.
Well, surely, Mrs. Cassidy, you know whether or not you were afraid of him.
Well, yes, I was a little bit.
Yes. Yet you nevertheless arranged to meet him again. Now, why was that?
Well, I already said I was bored stiff.
I see. Mrs. Cassidy, what was Mr. Harper's attitude towards Mark?
I don't know.
Well, when you went to the hut with Mark, what was Mr. Harper's attitude? Did he treat the child well?
Yes.
Yes. Did he seem fond of Mark?
Well, he seemed to be, but he couldn't have been, could he, doing a thing like that to him?
Mrs. Cassidy, will you please just answer the questions put to you by learned counsel?
Mr. Harper, then, was quite kind to Mark.
Yes.
Did Mark seem fond of him?
Well, Mark's one of those kids who just like everyone they meet.
He liked Mr. Harper, then, is that so?
He seemed to, yes.
Mr. Harper bought presents for Mark, did he not?
Once.
And once, when you went out to do some shopping, he looked after Mark. Is that correct?
What's so special about that?
He looked after Mark alone, did he not?
Yes.
Yes. And when you returned to collect Mark, did he seem quite happy?
Mark's always happy. At least he used to be.
But Mark was quite content, was he not, to spend an afternoon alone with a man who was more or less a total stranger to him?
I suppose so.
Yes. Mrs. Cassidy, did you and Mr. Harper ever quarrel about Mark's welfare?
Probably.
Did not Mr. Harper think you left Mark alone with his grandmother much too often?
John Harper always hated my mother. Yes, that was one of the many things he said.
Mr. Harper did take an interest in Mark's welfare, then?
He took an interest in everyone's business bar his own. Yes, you could say that he did.
Mrs. Cassidy, thank you. No further questions.
Dr. Bateman, I believe that you were called in to deal with certain aspects of this case.
Yes, that's right. I examined the child's injuries, and I carried out tests on the blood found on the brick.
What were your findings concerning the injuries?
The child had a severe concussion caused by a head injury. He also had a hairline fracture to the skull and a scalp wound of approximately 2.5 inches in length on the upper part of the cranium.
Thank you. These photographs are admitted. They're agreed by my friend, my lord.
Right.
I believe you'll recognize this. This was Mark Cassidy's condition when you examined him, was it?
Yes.
I should like the jury to look at this photograph, my lord.
Yes, very well, go ahead.
You have said that the child was concussed and had a hairline fracture of the skull. Had he any other injuries?
There was some bruising to the right arm and cuts to the knees, consistent with his having fallen.
And the blood on the brick, what did you find there?
The blood was consistent with a sample taken from the child.
In your opinion, what is the cause of the child's injuries?
I should say that the head injuries were caused by his having been struck by some heavy object, and the minor injuries, the cuts to the knees and the bruising to the arm, were probably caused by his subsequent fall.
Mark Cassidy was found by the police at 4:10 in the afternoon. Could you say when he received his injuries?
I should say that he received them between half an hour and 3/4 of an hour before that.
In your opinion, then, he was actually attacked at some time between 3:25 and 3:40.
Yes, I should say so.
Can you say whether the child was struck from a close distance or whether he was struck from having a heavy object, say a brick, thrown at him?
I feel that either is possible, but I would tend to be of the opinion that he was struck directly by someone close at hand.
Dr. Bateman, thank you.
Dr. Bateman, you've said the child's injuries were caused by his having been struck by some heavy object. Now, is it not possible the injuries were caused by his having struck something? You see, by his having fallen and cracked his head against some object.
I think that's fairly unlikely. The severity of the injuries seemed to indicate some greater force.
But it is not entirely out of the question.
No, not entirely.
Dr. Bateman, thank you.
I call Peter Arthur Webster.
Take the book in your right hand. Read out the words printed on the card.
I swear by Almighty God, the evidence I give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
No, would you mind reading the oath again, please?
Eh?
Yes, I think you added something, didn't you? I think you added the words, so help me God, didn't you?
All right. You want me to say it again, then?
Yes, if you would, please.
I swear by Almighty God, the evidence I give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Peter Arthur Webster,
I am.
and you live at 8 Leicester Road, Fulchester.
Yes.
And you work as a postman, is that correct?
I do now, yes. I didn't last April.
Oh, yes, I see. You weren't working at that time.
No.
I believe that you have known the defendant for quite some time, is that so?
I have, yes.
How long have you known him?
15 years. We grew up together.
And you've been close friends all that time?
Yes.
Then you will have known Mr. Harper during the time he was the boyfriend of Mrs. Cassidy, the injured child's mother.
I knew him then, yes.
When Mr. Harper and Mrs. Cassidy split up, What was Mr. Harper's attitude?
Well, I don't know, really.
Didn't he confide in you?
Yes.
Was he upset at the time?
Oh, yes. He was very cut up about it.
Or he was angry about it, was he?
I don't know.
Well, did he seem angry, in your opinion?
Well, who wouldn't be? She upped and married someone he knew, just like that.
When Mr. Harper began seeing Mrs. Cassidy again, when he had deserted from the army, did you know of their meetings?
Yes.
Did you discuss them with the defendant?
I did, yes.
And what did you say to the defendant in connection with these meetings?
Well, I just didn't think it was a good idea, really.
Why not?
Well, I didn't want to see him get hurt again.
You thought that might be a possibility?
Well, yes. But that's not to say it was. I mean, I didn't really know what was going on.
Mr. Webster, I believe that on the day of the child's assault, the defendant spent some time with you.
He did, yes.
Can you, in your own words, tell us the sequence of events that day from the time Harper came to your home?
Right, well, let's see. John turned up in the morning, around 11, I think. Yeah, it must have been, because my mum's got a part-time job, and she leaves the house about...
He arrived about 11. Then what happened?
Well, nothing much. We just sat around for a while chatting. I made John something to eat. I had a look at the paper he'd brought in.
You sat talking. Then what did you do?
Well, after that, we went out for a drink.
What time would this be?
Oh, I'm not sure. 1-ish.
How long were you in the pub?
Well, it must have been about an hour and a half, because it wasn't quite last orders when we left. Yeah, say an hour and a half. Well, not that it felt that long. It only felt like a couple of minutes.
Mr. Webster, this is a court of law, Mr. Webster.
I've noticed.
Will you please answer counsel's questions as concisely as possible?
Yes. OK. Sorry.
Thank you. So, you and Mr. Harper were in the pub for about an hour and a half, yes?
Yes.
How much did you drink?
2 or 3 pints, I think, and a couple of whiskies.
You each drank the same amount?
As I remember, yes.
Were you drunk when you left the pub?
No, I wouldn't say so.
And Mr. Harper, was he drunk?
No, he was the same as me.
Were you both perfectly sober in that case?
No, not exactly. I mean, we'd had a drink, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Where did you and the defendant go after you left the pub?
Back to my place.
What time would this be?
Just after closing time. About 20 to 3 or thereabouts.
And Mr. Harper, did he stay with you or what?
I stayed for a while, yes.
Then what did he do?
But then he said he was going back up to the hut to see if there were any messages.
Messages?
Yeah. Well, sometimes people would leave messages for him there if they couldn't get hold of him. You know, leave a note or something if anything urgent cropped up. Like the time the military came looking for him at his mum's.
I see. And at what time did he leave your home to return to the hut?
About 3, maybe a bit after.
Could you be a little more exact?
Not really.
Well, by a little bit after, would you say as late as 3:30?
No, not as late as that.
3:15?
Yeah, something like that.
So it would be fair to say that he left sometime between 3 and 3:15. Is that
Yes.
right?
I think so, yeah.
Mr. Webster, you'd visited the hut yourself on a number of occasions, had you not?
Oh, yes. I found him the place.
In your estimation, then, how long does it take to walk from your home to the hut?
10, 15 minutes.
Therefore, by your estimation, Harper would have arrived at the waste ground beside the hut at some time between 10 past and 3:30.
I was just thinking, he might have stopped off somewhere to buy some fags or something. I mean, it depends on how fast you walk.
Between 10 past and 3:30.
Yes, I suppose so.
And the child was attacked around 3:30. Thank you, Mr. Webster. I have no more questions.
Mr. Webster, you've said that you've known John Harper a long time, did you not?
Yes, about 15 years.
Yes. What kind of person is he?
John? Well, what can I say? He's a good friend of mine.
Yes. Would you say he was a violent man?
No, never.
have you ever known him to be violent?
Never.
Now, I gather from my client, when he wanted to join the army, you spent some time trying to dissuade him. Is that right?
That's right, I did.
Yes. Why was that?
I knew it wouldn't suit him. He thought it'd be like the territorials, all weekends in the country in the pub with the lads at night. Well, I tried to tell him it wasn't like that, and that he wouldn't like it. And I was right, wasn't I? He hated it. That's why he scarpered.
Yes. And it was after he deserted that he turned to you for help, was it not?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Why was that?
Well, I was his friend, wasn't I? His family couldn't do much for him because obviously he couldn't stay with them, as that would be the first place the army'd have looked for him. So, he came to me to ask if he could stay for a while, till he got himself sorted out.
Yes, and could he?
No, it just wasn't possible. I mean, me and my wife and our 2 kids, we all live with my mother, and the old lady put her foot down and wouldn't have John staying as well.
Yes, so, finally, where did he stay?
In the hut.
Would you tell us a little about it?
Yeah, well, it's one of those little prefab jobs. The builders left it there after they'd finished the flyover repairs. Wasn't too bad a place in an emergency.
Yes. Did Harper then go to live in the hut?
More or less. We opened it up, put in a few comforts. It was just till he got himself sorted out.
Yes. Hardly luxurious.
You could say that.
Yes. Now, how much time did he actually spend there?
Well, not a lot.
Where did he spend his time then?
With me, mostly, or at his sister's.
Very well. Now, on the day of the alleged assault, Harper came to see you in the morning, right?
Yes.
And you talked for a while before going out to a local pub. Is that right?
That's right. I spent some time trying to straighten him out.
In what way?
Well, he was in a mess, wasn't he? He'd skipped from the army, and now he didn't know what to do with himself. All he knew was that he didn't want to go back to Ireland.
He'd been serving in Northern Ireland, then?
That's right. And no way did he want to go back. I mean, would you?
Mr. Webster, simply answer the questions put to you by learned counsel. Do not ask questions of your own.
Yeah, fair enough. Sorry.
Now, we were trying to establish why John Harper was reluctant to return to active service in Northern Ireland, weren't we?
Yes.
Yes. What reasons did he give you?
Well, the impression I got was that the place gave him the horrors. He started having nightmares about getting killed or losing his legs and the like. Also, he didn't really know what he was doing there or who he was fighting. He sort of lost his faith in soldiering, if you get what I mean.
Yes. This is not, of course, to suggest that he had altered his political opinions in any way or had become a supporter of the IRA, is it?
Oh, no. The thing was that he never had any political opinions, and he didn't want to be forced into taking any. I mean, people are just people with John. He didn't want to be on either side.
Yes. What suggestions did you have to make to Mr. Harper about his situation?
Right, well, the way I saw it, he could either give himself up to the authorities and take the consequences...
As he will have to after this hearing anyway. Yes, go on.
Or he could set himself up under a bogus name. You know, try to get a job or whatever, which might have meant to be on the safe side, moving to another town.
Yes. How did he react to these suggestions?
Well, he just kept saying, there must be some other way.
Right. Now, to return to the day of the alleged assault, you and Harper went for a drink at about 1, yes?
Yes.
And returned to your flat at about 20 to 3, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. And then you said Harper left to return to the hut at between 3 and 1/4 past.
About then, I think.
Yes. Well, how can you be certain of the time, Mr. Webster?
Well, I don't know, but...
Well, you see, I notice you don't wear a watch. What makes you certain that your friend, Mr. Harper, left your home at 3 or 3:15?
I don't know, really. Well, there's news on the radio on the hour. That's how I remember, because he left just after that.
Oh, I see. Yes, yes. To which station was your radio tuned?
Well, I don't really know, but...
Well, it's just that some stations give their news bulletins on the half hour, that's all. It's a minor point.
Oh, yes, right. Well, I suppose you're right. I could have made a mistake about that.
Harper, then, could have left your home shortly after 3:30, or between 3:30 and 4:45.
Yeah, I expect that's what happened.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mr. Webster. No further questions.
Thank you, my lord. Mr. Webster, You said earlier in your evidence that Mr. Harper had left your home to return to the hut at 3 o'clock or shortly after, did you not?
Yes, I did. But I made a mistake about that.
You made a mistake about it. Now, what time do you now believe Mr. Harper left your home?
Well, like I said, round about past or a bit after. I mean, it's different for you and people like you.
What are you trying to say, Mr. Webster?
Well, just that... Well, to normal people, there's not a great deal of difference between 3 o'clock and past, if you get what I mean.
Mr. Webster, you're a postman now, is that right?
Yes.
What time do you start work?
6 o'clock.
Not past?
No.
What would be the attitude of your superiors if you started work at 6:30?
They're not usually too pleased.
And the people with whom you work, to whom 6 o'clock is quite different from 6:30, are quite normal people, are they not?
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
Mr. Webster. Mr. Webster, remember you're giving evidence in the trial of a man for a very serious offence.
I'm sorry. I got a bit carried away.
Yes, I know you did. Just answer counsel's questions clearly. All right, Mrs. Haynes.
Thank you, my lord. We are agreed then, are we not, Mr. Webster, that there is a difference between 3 o'clock and 3:30?
Well, yes. And no. I mean, when you're working, yes, there's a big difference. But when you're not working, you don't notice time the same way.
Thank you, Mr. Webster. That's all. That is all, Mr. Webster.
Well, it may be for you.
Mr. Webster, will you stand down, please?
Oh, I don't know. Why'd John want to half-kill his own kid anyway? Tell me that.
Why, you bloody liar, Webster! You rotten bastard! You'd say anything, wouldn't you?
Oh, shut up, you.
I will not have this.
He's just telling one lie after another.
Will you please be quiet and sit down?
No, I won't sit down. Why should I have to listen to this?
Mrs. Cassidy, please.
Yeah, be quiet, you.
Mr. Webster, I've already had to warn you once. It seems that I have to warn you again. You are in contempt of court and liable to be sent down. Do you understand? I don't want to hear another word from you. If there's any more behavior like this, I shall order you to be removed. Is that clear?
Yes.
Right. Would you please sit down, Mrs. Cassidy?
Lord.
Yes, Mr. Pettifer.
My Lord, in view of the witness's last remark, I should like to beg leave of you for a short adjournment so that I may take further instruction from my client.
Oh, yes. That seems reasonable enough.
Yes, I should also like to recall the witness, Linda Cassidy, for further cross-examination, with your permission.
I feel there is no need to recall the
Yes.
witness.
Oh, one moment, Mrs. Haynes. I'll hear your arguments in a moment. In the meanwhile, I see no point in keeping the jury waiting around. They could well be dismissed until tomorrow morning, if that's all right. Is that all right with you, Mr. Pettifer?
Yes, my Lord.
Mrs. Haynes?
Yes, my lord.
Well, members of the jury, I'm sure you'll be very glad to go home now. I must ask you not to discuss this case either among yourselves or with anybody else. We shall assemble tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock sharp. Please be on time. Thank you.
The case of the Crown versus Harper will be concluded tomorrow in the Crown Court. The case you're about to see is fictional, but the procedure is authentic. The characters are played by actors, and the jury, who will decide the verdict, are members of the public. John Harper, an army deserter, has been charged with the wounding of a 3-year-old child, Mark Cassidy, and with escaping legal custody. He's pleaded not guilty. Escape. Case is now in its 3rd day. Yesterday, Harper's friend Peter Webster gave his evidence. After his cross-examination, a remark which indicated that he believed the defendant to be the father of Mark Cassidy, the victim of the assault. Linda Cassidy, the child's mother, who's already testified, has now been recalled for further cross-examination.
Mrs. Cassidy, yesterday when you do realize you're still under oath. Yesterday, when you gave your evidence, you said the defendant, Mr. Harper, was an ex-boyfriend of yours, did you not?
Yes.
Mrs. Cassidy, I believe you married your husband shortly after your relationship with the defendant ended. Is that so?
Yes.
And Mark was born towards the end of that same year. Is that so?
Yes, he was.
Mrs. Cassidy, I must put it to you that you led Mr. Harper to believe that he might be the child's father.
Did he say that? That's nonsense.
You deny suggesting to Mr. Harper that Mark was his son.
Of course I do, because he isn't.
Whether he is or not, Mrs. Cassidy, is not the point. Did you not tell Mr. Harper, whether truly or falsely, that Mark was his son?
No, I never did.
I suggest you are mistaken.
Well, I suggest I'm not.
Mr. Pettifer, I don't think you're achieving anything by all this, do you? You see, I allowed you to call this witness because I thought we'd hear something relevant. Something which we hadn't heard before.
Yes, my lord, I'm trying to establish that the witness led the defendant to believe, whether rightly or wrongly, that Mark was his child.
I know, but you haven't, have you?
No, my lord.
No. Nor will you, to judge by the witness's testimony to date. And even if you do, does it get us any nearer to finding out what actually took place? I don't think it does. I think these tactics are getting you nowhere. I think the best thing for you and your client would be to let this witness go.
My lord.
All right, Mrs. Cassidy, you may leave the witness box. And Mrs. Haynes?
I wish to call no further witnesses, my lord.
Yes. That is the case for the prosecution?
It is.
I should like to call the defendant, John Harper.
Take the book in your right hand. Read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are John Cornelius Harper?
Yes.
And you were, until recently, a soldier in the regular army?
Yes.
And I believe that you subsequently went absent without leave from the army in March of last year?
I did, yeah.
You had been serving in Northern Ireland until then, had you not?
I had been, yeah.
Yes. How long had you been in the army in all?
11 months.
Yes. And how long had you been in Ulster?
Nearly 4 months.
So, a considerable part of your army career was spent on active service in Northern Ireland, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. I believe that whatever the outcome of this hearing, you still have to face disciplinary proceedings before a military tribunal. Is that right?
Yes, I've still got that to look forward to.
Yes. Can you give us some idea of your reasons for going absent without leave? I mean, why did you take such an action?
Well,
One minute, Mr. Harper.
Could you give us some idea of your reasoning for this line of questioning? It hardly seems relevant to me.
My lord, I believe it is. I think that by asking the defendant a few brief questions illustrating the background to his arrest and showing his attitude at the time, it will put his escape into perspective.
Very well, but I must have your assurance that your questions will indeed be brief ones.
Oh, they will be, my lord. Now, Mr. Harper, you were about to tell us why you deserted.
Yeah. I just couldn't stand it over there. You know, hated all the violence and didn't want to be part of it all.
You'd become something of a pacifist.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yes. I think it might be proper to ask Mr. Harper why a man of your temperament wanted to join the army in the first place.
Yeah, well, it was like Peter said. I'd imagine...
Peter Webster, who testified earlier.
Yeah, Peter. Like he said, I imagined it'd be different, you know, bit of a lark. Thought I might get sent abroad and all.
Wasn't there another, more important reason for you wanting to join the army?
Yes, I'd been out of work a long time.
And the army offered immediate employment prospects, did it not?
No, not immediate, no, because even to get into the army these days, you've got to go on a waiting list. It's the same with the Navy.
You also applied to join the Navy?
Yeah, but the army offer came up first, so I took it.
Yes, as a solution to your unemployment problem?
Yeah, partly, yeah.
Yes. Now, one final point before we come to the events of the day of your arrest. While you were on the run from the army, you met up with your old girlfriend, Mrs. Cassidy, as we've heard. Did Mrs. Cassidy, in any way, lead you to believe you might be the father of her child, Mark?
She did, yes.
Did you believe he was your child?
I really don't know, but I think it's possible, yeah.
Yes. What's your attitude to Mark?
I really like him, you know. I think he's a lovely little boy.
Regardless of whether or not he's your child?
I don't care whose kid he is. I just like him, you know.
Now, Mr. Harper, would you please describe to us the events of the day of your arrest last April?
Yeah, well, I went round to Peter's in the morning after staying the night in the hut, like he said. Then after a while, we went out for a drink. Then we stayed in the pub until about closing time. Then we went back to Peter's for a while, and then I left to go back up to the hut.
Yes. At what time did you leave Mr. Webster's?
About 3:45.
And what time did you arrive at the waste ground where the hut was situated?
I suppose it was 4. A bit after, maybe.
Yeah. Did you go directly to the hut, or did you stop off somewhere on the way?
No, yeah. I stopped off in a shop to get some fags and a couple of things.
Yes. How long did that take you?
5 minutes.
Well, what happened when you finally reached the waste ground where the hut was situated?
Well, I'd just gone in the gate from the main road when I saw these 2 policemen near my hut. So instead of walking across to the hut, I started to go around the edge of the field.
Yes. Now, Mr. Harper, were you walking towards the police officers, away from them, or roughly parallel to them?
Roughly parallel to them, yeah.
So you were not walking away from them?
No.
Right, go on, Mr. Harper. What happened after you noticed the policeman?
Well, I thought I'd keep out of their way anyway, you know, just in case.
In case of what?
Well, in case they stopped me and found out I was a deserter.
I see, yes, go on.
Anyway, I heard this shout, but I just kept going.
Did you realise the policeman was shouting at you?
I wasn't sure, no.
Well, what happened next?
Well, next there was another shout, "Hey, you," or something like that. So I looked round and I saw this bloke running towards me.
This was Police Constable Anderson?
Whatever his name is, yeah.
Now, what did you do when you realised he wanted to talk to you?
Well, what could I do? You know, I just stood there and waited for him.
Yes. Now, what had he to say to you?
He told me to stand still, so I did.
Now, at this point, what did you think he wanted to talk to you about?
I thought someone had grasped me up for being a deserter, and that he'd come to nick me for that.
Now, what did P.C. Anderson say to you after he told you to stand still?
He said, "All right, pal, I think you're the ones can help us."
And you replied?
I said, "What do you want to know then?" Still thinking it was about the army business. But he said, "Some bastards attacked a kid over there." Or words to that effect. So I said, "Well, what makes you think I've harmed him then?" Or something like that.
What was the officer's reply to this?
He said, "Because you're here."
P.C. Anderson said, "Because you're here."
Yeah. So I thought, well, fair enough, it's his job to think that way. And anyway, I'd not been taking it in properly because I'd been expecting him to ask me about being a deserter. You know, not accuse me of attacking a kid. So I thought we'd chat a bit and sort it out, and it'll all be cleared up in a minute. But no, he just grabbed my arm and said, "You're Nick, chum," and ran me over to where his mate was.
He arrested you.
Yeah.
What happened next?
Well, the one that had arrested me said to the other one, "Here's the bastard that done it, Charlie." And the other one said, "Well, he'll soon bloody know what it feels like himself, won't he?" Then I looked down on the ground and saw it was Mark, you know, Linda's little boy.
What did you think P.C. Naylor meant by his remark about, well, he'll soon bloody know what it feels like himself, won't he?
I assumed he meant I was in for a doing down at the police station.
Yes. All right, what happened then, Mr. Harper, after you'd been arrested and taken over to where the other officer was waiting?
Well, they were just putting me in the car when I ran away.
Why?
Well, I was scared. I know it was a stupid thing to do, but...
was anything said to you to make you feel afraid?
Yeah, one of them said, just you wait till we get you down the station. You'll be sorry you were born.
Now, which police officer said this to you?
The one that had arrested me.
This was Police Constable Anderson?
Yes.
So, you made a break for it and you tried to run away, yes?
Yes.
And you were subsequently recaptured by P.C. Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Harper, when you were first apprehended by P.C. Anderson, did you say to him at any point words to the effect that you never meant to harm the child?
No, never. You made that up.
You're absolutely certain of that?
Of course I am. I never touched the little boy, and I never said anything like that. He just made the whole thing up.
Mr. Harper, you have stated that on the day in question, you and your friend Peter Webster went to a local pub and stayed there until about closing time. Is that the case?
Yes.
Mr. Webster said earlier that each of you drank about 2 or 3 pints of beer and 2 whiskies. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Which was it, 2 or 3 pints?
I just don't remember. I never drink more than 3, though, not ever.
Why is that? Do you have a poor head for alcohol?
No.
Then what did you mean by your last remark?
Well, if I drink any more beer than that, I have to keep going to the toilet, that's all.
A common complaint, Mr. Harper. Were you drunk when you left the pub?
No.
Very well. You left the pub and went back to Mr. Webster's flat.
Yes.
Where earlier in the day you and Mr. Webster had been discussing your future, is that right?
More or less, yeah.
One of the suggestions for your future was that you should set up under an assumed name and look for work in another town.
Yeah, well, it was just a suggestion. I never took it that seriously.
Why not?
Well, I didn't think I could live like that. Always, you know, pretending.
But surely you were already pretending, living a life of deceit, pretending you were not a deserter from the regular army.
That was different.
Was it? I fail to see in what way. The other suggestion, I believe, was that you surrender yourself to the military authorities and take the consequences of your action. Did you take that suggestion seriously?
Well, sort.
Well, did you or didn't you?
Yeah, I took it seriously, yeah.
But you did not surrender yourself, did you?
No.
Why were you reluctant to do the most honest thing you could have done under the circumstances, Mr. Harper?
I was too scared.
Scared of what?
Of what they might do to me when they got me back.
I'm afraid I don't quite understand, Mr. Harper. You were afraid of whom precisely?
The military police.
I see. Earlier in your evidence, Mr. Harper, you said you imagined police officers Naylor and Anderson were going to give you a doing when they got you down to the police station.
Yes.
Were you given a doing at the police station?
No.
It seems you have a somewhat paranoid turn of mind, Mr. Harper, imagining people are going to harm you when they're not.
It's okay for you. You don't know what they're like.
To whom are you referring? To the police? The military police?
Yeah, both of them.
Have you ever been beaten by a police officer?
Not yet, no.
Yes or no, Mr. Harper?
No.
Have you ever been beaten by a member of the military police?
No.
During your time in the army, before you deserted, were you ever physically ill-treated by any person in authority over you?
No, but I saw plenty of blokes
Yes or no?
Not personally, no.
I know no other way of being beaten, Mr. Harper, other than personally. Are you a violent man?
No.
No, of course not. You consider yourself to be something of a pacifist nowadays. This is what you told Defense Counsel, is it not?
Yes.
Are you a member of any pacifist organization?
No.
Why not?
I just don't join things, that's all.
Ah, you joined the army, did you not?
Yes.
And before that, you joined the Territorial Army.
Yes.
How long were you in the Territorial Army?
About 3 years.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
After that, you put your name down on the waiting list to join the regular army, did you not?
Yeah.
Isn't all this a little strange for someone who calls himself a pacifist?
No.
No? Oh, come now, Mr. Harper. Isn't all this a little far-fetched?
No, I just didn't think that way until I'd been in the army a while.
Oh, I see. Your pacifism is a recent development, is that it?
Yes.
How very convenient. Perhaps we can return to the day of the attack on Mark Cassidy. You left Mr. Webster's flat after having been with him in a pub, walked to your hut where you were hailed by Constable Anderson, is that right?
Yes.
He shouted at you and you stopped, is that the case?
Yes.
Did you not admit earlier that you did not stop when P.C. Anderson hailed you?
Oh, yes, it's the way you asked me, it's getting me confused. I thought you meant the second time he shouted.
Oh, I see. You didn't hear him the first time.
No. No, yes, I did. I just didn't pay any attention.
You chose to ignore him.
No, it was like I said before. I thought someone had split on me for being a deserter.
Had anyone split on you?
No.
More paranoid delusion, Mr. Harper. You heard P.C. Anderson shout, he ran toward you, told you of the child's assault, and then arrested you. Is that what happened?
More or less, yeah.
He then took you to his colleague and asked you to get into the back of a police car, yes?
Yes.
But you instead pushed past the arresting officer and tried to run away, did you not?
Yes.
No doubt you were afraid of something else.
Yes.
Mr. Harper, I must put it to you that you have not been entirely truthful about the events of the day of the assault.
I have been.
On the day of your arrest, you left Peter Webster's flat at some time after 3.
No, it was later than that.
You made your way back to the hut from Webster's.
Yes.
You had recently quarrelled with Linda Cassidy.
Yes.
And you had had a fair amount to drink on the afternoon in question, had you not?
No, not really, no.
I suggest to you that when you arrived at the hut, you found Mark Cassidy nearby.
No, I never.
You were on bad terms with the boy's mother. You tried to drive the child away.
No.
Mark, perhaps, did not understand. Angry with his mother, you took your anger out on the child.
No, I didn't.
I put it to you that you picked up a half brick and struck Mark with it.
No.
Perhaps you did not mean to harm him, as you later told P.C. Anderson. Perhaps you only meant to frighten the child off. However, the brick struck him, and he fell to the ground unconscious. You panicked and tried to get away from the place, didn't you?
No, this never happened.
You were unaware that 2 policemen were already searching for Mark when you left him lying on the ground and made off, until you were apprehended and arrested by Constable Anderson. Shortly after your arrest, you panicked and tried to escape.
I tried to escape, yeah, but that was
You ran because you were guilty.
No, you're making this up.
I'm making it up. Earlier, did you not also accuse Police Constable Anderson of having made up a story to frame you for no good reason?
Yeah, because that's what he's done, isn't it? Else I wouldn't be here.
What then did you mean by your earlier remark to Constable Anderson?
What remark?
I never meant to harm him.
I told you, I never said that.
You still maintain that Constable Anderson made that up?
I do, because he did.
Oh, come, Mr. Harper.
It's the truth.
What then did you say?
I said, what makes you think I've harmed him?
And those were your exact words?
As I remember, yes.
How did you know the child was a boy?
What?
You said earlier that P.C. Anderson said something about someone having attacked a kid over there, didn't you?
Yes.
To which you maintain you answered him by saying, what makes you think I've harmed him?
Yes.
Well, does not the term a kid mean either a little boy or a little girl?
No.
No, you think it doesn't? What then does the word mean, Mr. Harper?
Oh, sorry. I meant to say yes. It's the way you asked me, it's getting me confused.
Then I'll try to express myself in words of 1 syllable for your benefit, Mr. Harper. We're agreed, are we not, that the expression a kid means a child of either sex, yes?
Yes, yes.
Then how in this instance did you know that P.C. Anderson was referring to a male child?
I don't know. I just sort of picked up that impression.
I see. Do you have telepathic powers, Mr. Harper?
Pardon?
Do you have telepathic powers? Are you a mind reader? Is that what you expect us to believe?
You don't have to answer that question, Mr. Harper.
Thank you.
How did you know the child was a boy?
I don't know. I just felt that's what he meant. I can't explain why.
Seemingly. Why else would you have said, I never meant to harm him?
I told you, I never said that. I never laid a finger on little Mark. And I never had anything to do with any of it.
Finally, I want you to weigh up the facts of the case very carefully. On the one hand, you have the defendant found on the waste ground shortly after the child was found. On the other hand, you may feel that there's not a great deal of evidence to link Harper directly with the child's injuries. Police Constable Anderson testified that Mr. Harper said on his arrest, "I never meant to harm him." Mr. Harper, of course, denies this. Mr. Webster testified that the defendant left his flat between 3 o'clock and 3:15, but under cross-examination he said he thought the time might have been considerably later. Well, members of the jury, it is for you to decide whether or not you accept Mr. Webster's original estimation of the time as the correct one. I want you to be clear in your own minds. If you have any nagging doubts, then it is your duty to acquit. Remember that the burden of proof rests with the prosecution. It is for them to prove their case beyond reasonable doubt. The defense does not have to prove innocence. Now will you please retire, elect a foreman to speak for you, and consider your verdict.
Members of the jury, would your foreman please stand? Have you reached a verdict on which you're all agreed?
Yes.
On the count of wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm in the indictment, do you find the defendant, John Cornelius Harper, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
And is that the verdict of you all?
It is.
Well, Mr. Harper, you've been found not guilty. It only remains for me to deal with the other charge, that of escape. I see that you've been remanded in custody since your arrest last April. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, I'll sentence you to 1 day's imprisonment for that offence, Mr. Harper, which, of course, you've already served, so you may be discharged.
My lord.
Yes, of course, my mistake. Yes, I believe the military police are waiting to transfer you to another prison prior to trying you for desertion from the army, so you're not free to stand down immediately.